Okay, we're still in volume 2, and this is part 1, story 6. The twins make peace. To recap, this is about Esau and Jacob. Just in case you hadn't picked it up. For some of y'all, you have, and some of you hadn't. But they're grown up. And this, of course, part 1, story 6, the twins make peace. Having made peace with God, Jacob's one desire was to make peace with his brother. He had told God he was sorry for his sins, and now he was ready to tell Esau the same thing. There was no pride in his heart anymore, or any desire to cheat or deceive. He was now Prince of God and wanted to do right. His first thought was to send a present to Esau as a token of his love. And this is what he sent: 200 she goats and 20 he goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milch camels and with their colts, 40 kine, 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 and 10 bulls, 20 she I don't want to say this word, but she donkeys, and 10 foals. There was nothing mean or little about the present like this. It would be a costly gift today, and it surely was then. Jacob sent the animals forward, drove and driven, telling his servants to change the servants in charge of each drove to say, when we meet Esau, this is a present from Jacob, and behold, he is behind us. Jacob's idea was to impress Esau with the greatness of his gift, as he should see one drove after another coming towards him. It was, I will appease him with the present that goeth forth me, he said, and afterwards I will see his face. Peradventure he will accept me. Whew. Just in case the present, big as it was, might not be enough to soften Esau's heart, Jacob arranged for the women and children to follow up next. In front he put the handsmaid and her children, handsmaid with their children, when Leah, then Leah with her 6 little boys, and Dana, her daughter, and finally dear Rachel with her precious Joseph. As the caravan moved slowly onward in it seemed new order, everyone up ahead raised a cry, Esau's coming, and the words were passed back from one to another, leaving everybody much afraid. Everybody, that is, except Jacob. He wasn't afraid anymore. Brave in the new strength he had received from God, he walked boldly forward, passing his wife and children, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times. As he came nearer and nearer to his brother. And then it's got 2 more words. Let's go with the illustration. Jacob meeting Esau. And you gotta think, he's limping because he just got his leg hurt, or his, he got his hip bone, so he's limping. And it said he could make sure, because he hadn't been used in a while. Okay, and it said he could not have done more to show that he truly was sorry for what he had done, that he might be friends again. Esau's anger melted away at the sight of his brother kneeling to him, and he ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. What a lovely meeting! How beautiful that they each should have kissed each other. What happened? What happy it must have made all the women and the children and all of Esau's men too. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those were wiping their eyes as as the long separated twins met and made peace. Esau then asked about all the women and the children and Jacob's party. And one by one they came up and were introduced. Then he asked, what were all those droves I met on the way? These are I these are to find grace in thy sight of my Lord, said Jacob, smiling between his ears. I have enough, brother, said Esau, thanking him. Keep them for yourself. But Jacob pressed him to accept the present, and Esau at last agreed so. There was something very fine about Esau, for now he offered to of go ahead of Jacob's caravan with his 400 men as bodyguard for the rest of the journey. Jacob thanked him, but he said there is no need for him to do that. And anyway, the bodyguard might want to move wanted to move too quickly. My Lord doeth that the children are tender, he said, and the flocks and the herds are young are with me. And if your men should override them one day, all the flock will die. I will lead on softly according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children are able to endure. Esau saw the wisdom in this, but he was too anxious to do something for his brother that he offered to leave some men with Jacob to help with the work. Again, Jacob thanked him, but it wasn't necessary. He would be all right. Then, with many smiles and kisses and handshakes, the brothers parted again, this time in peace, with everything forgotten. As Esau and his men rode away, I expect they kept turning around to wave their hands in farewell. And Jacob waved too, and Leah and Rachel and all the children. How they waved their little hands over and over again. Such a happy parting in this time, so different from the way 20 years before. And then, of course, it has down at the bottom, illustration, bottom illustration. Excuse me, of Esau saying goodbye. And that was story 6, part 1, story 6. And now we go to our next story.